As Manas pointed out in his review of the Poco M6 Pro that this phone is a rebashed version of the recently unveiled Redmi 12 5G, which kind of it is. I mean, everything is quite obvious from the looks of the M6 Pro, but this phone is also an incremental upgrade to the Poco M5, and in fact at a starting price of 10,999 rupees, which is 1,500 rupees more than the M5's starting price. The M6 Pro does bring some meaningful upgrades to the table, such as 5G, a newer chipset, and a tweaked design. So the question is, should you buy the latest budget smartphone from the house of Poco, or does this phone even warrant an upgrade over the outgoing Poco M5? Let me try to answer this for you in this video. Hello everyone, Aman here for Fiber, and this is my review of the Poco M6 Pro in this beautiful forest green color. Now for folks who like it minimal, there's also a silver and black color option of this phone. However, what I'm wondering is that why isn't this phone being offered in the signature yellow color that Poco uses for all its other smartphones? I mean, a yellow color option for the M6 Pro would have been awesome. Do you also think that? Let me know in the comments. And of course, before we get on with the rest of the episode, consider hitting that red subscribe button for detailed tech videos, and also turn on the bell so that you don't miss any of our latest updates. With that said, let's get started. Now, design-wise, the Poco M6 Pro does a bunch of things right over the Poco M5. So gone is the curved textured plastic back in favor of the premium glass rear, which is now flat. The raised camera island on the M5 is also now flush on the M6 Pro, although the camera rings are slightly protruding. The Poco M6 Pro also features IP53 dust and splash resistance, something that isn't there on the Poco M5. The side frame and button placements feel the same, however the display now features a hole punch design instead of the teardrop notch, which is a welcome addition. And coming back to the buttons, they have superb tactile feedback, and the fingerprint reader is embedded in the power button, fast and responsive as one would expect from physical sensors. Other than this, the Type-C port and single speaker placement at the bottom remains the same, as well as the headphone jack and the IR blaster at the top. Also note, the Poco M6 Pro features a hybrid SIM slot, which is good. However, in the budget segment, I was expecting to see dual SIM slots along with a dedicated slot for storage expansion. So overall, when it comes to the design, the Poco M6 Pro does not give you the feel that you're holding a budget phone in your hand. The build is solid. You get IP53 protection, and the flat design plus the glass back does add up that bit of premiumness, which makes the phone feel more like a 20,000 to 25,000 rupees device. And yes, one more thing, and I will say this again, why isn't this phone not available in a yellow color? Now, apart from the slight increase in size, that is from 6.58 inches on the M5 to 6.79 inches on the M6 Pro, the display specs on the newer model kind of remain the same. That is, you get an IPS LCD panel with a 90Hz refresh rate, Corning Gorilla Glass 3 protection, and a slightly bumped up brightness from 500 nits on the M5 to 550 nits on the M6 Pro. And specs aside, the M6 Pro offers quite a decent panel for its price. Let me explain. So in our proprietary display test, I found the Poco M6 Pro's panel to be quite vibrant despite it being an IPS panel, and I think most people are going to appreciate this since the colors do look visually appealing. Brightness wise also, the phone has got you covered indoors. However, using the phone outdoors under harsh sunlight isn't the best experience, but again, there's not much to complain about considering the price. There's also a single bottom firing speaker, which admittedly doesn't sound as rich and full as a stereo setup would sound, but it still gets the job done. Listen to this.
अरुण जेटली के डेथ के बाद उसका नाम चेंज करके अरुण जेटली स्टेडियम कर दिया है. So ठीक है, so I was watching a Gautam Gambhir interview.
So overall, when you look at the well-tuned IPS LCD panel and the speaker performance, I think that the multimedia performance on the Poco M6 Pro is quite good for its price. The Poco M6 Pro is powered by the new Snapdragon 4 Gen 2 chipset coupled with up to 6GB RAM and up to 128GB storage. There's MIUI 14 atop Android 13 with the promise of 2 years of future OS upgrades plus 3 years of security patch updates. So software-wise, MIUI 14 is packed to the brim with features and offers a similar look and feel like how you would see MIUI in a high-end Xiaomi phone. However, because of the entry-level chip and a slew of bloatware, the experience isn't quite the speediest. I mean, for general usage and scrolling, software feels quite responsive with a slight stutter or frame drop here and there, but put some load on it and you see the phone struggling to keep up. But again, since this is a budget phone we are talking about here, I think we can give it a bit of leeway here. Now, general tasks such as calling, texting, checking social media is handled with ease. There's 5G support, and on the Jio 5G network, I faced zero issues regarding connectivity or call drops. However, as I said, start putting some load on the Poco M6 Pro and becomes quite apparent that the phone does struggle a bit. Take a look at some benchmarks. As you can see in AnTuTu, quite a modest score of about 4,39,000, which is okay for a budget phone, but it suggests that running graphics intensive tasks isn't a strong suit of this phone. Similarly, in Geekbench 6, single core score is about 860, which is quite good, and which also suggests that normal tasks such as scrolling, texting, calling, etc. will be handled fine. However, running heavy tasks will be kind of an issue. And so I tried playing Asphalt 9 on the smartphone, and while the game was playable on the M6 Pro, I would say the hardware is barely able to keep up there. Also, this is when the phone started getting warm whenever I would put significant load on the smartphone, like multitasking or running graphics intensive games on this phone. So that is something to be noted. Okay, the 5000 mAh battery performs quite admirably. Poco is also providing a 22.5 watt charger in the box, although support is capped at 18 watt. Battery consumption wise, since it is a budget phone, you get a modest display. The processor is not resource hungry, and so the endurance on this phone is great, and on some days I was even able to hit a day and a half on a single charge. Overall, keeping the price in check for general tasks, the Poco M6 Pro performs quite well. The battery life is good, and you're also getting the option of 5G for those who fancy it. That said, hard-hitting tasks is not one of the strongest suits of the Poco M6 Pro, but again, at a starting price of 10,999 rupees, Poco isn't targeting the performance enthusiasts with this offering. The Poco M6 Pro features a 50 megapixel primary rear camera coupled with a 2 megapixel depth sensor. This is minus the macro camera on the M5. The front is graced with an 8 megapixel lens, which on paper is again an upgrade over the 5 megapixel lens on the Poco M5. So the photos captured from the 50 megapixel primary sensor under decent lighting conditions did impress for the most part when it came to details and wide dynamic range. However, HDR performance could be a hit or miss, so consistency is something that the M6 Pro struggles with. For instance, in these couple of shots, the background in the left image is properly exposed, but in the image on the right, the exposure is blown out of proportion. Portrait mode shots again turn out quite well given their favorable light, and edge detection in photos is also quite decent. In terms of night photos, again, if there's decent amount of artificial light around, you can expect passable results that are okay in terms of colors and contrast. Also note there is no dedicated night mode on the Poco M6 Pro. Selfies turned out fine when it came to preserving the facial tones. However, under harsh lighting, the phone does struggle to keep the highlights in check. And the night selfies, well, I would suggest refraining from using the camera in the dark, as details do go for a toss if there's no sufficient light around.
So guys, right now I'm recording from the rear camera of the Poco M6 Pro. This is the 1080p 30fps sample. The phone can only shoot up to 1080p 30fps videos. Of course, this is a budget smartphone we are talking about here. And this is the kind of quality that you can expect. I would say colors look fine. Dynamic range could use some work. As you can see, the sky looks totally blown out. But yeah, this is the kind of quality. It's a budget smartphone. You can't expect much here. There's no stabilization also. How does my audio sound? Let me know in the comments. And next up is the selfie video. And this is the 1080p 30fps selfie video recording on the Poco M6 Pro, and this is the kind of quality that you get. Again, quite average quality, not the best. but as I just said in the rear-facing video recording also, that this is a budget phone we're talking about here for about 11,000, 12,000 rupees, I think. So it does a decent job. This is the kind of quality that you get. You can make out for yourself. How does my audio sound? Of course, there's no stabilization, but how do you find the overall video? Let me know everything in the comments. And next up is the verdict.
So taking everything into consideration, first up, I would like to tell you that if you have the POCO M5 right now, then you don't really need to upgrade to the POCO M6 Pro unless and until you want to experience 5G for yourself if you fancy 5G. Because while the design and the chipset are new here, they are not revolutionary upgrades over the POCO M5. As for newer buyers looking for a budget 5G smartphone, I think for the 1500 rupees increase over the POCO M5, the two notable changes on the M6 Pro are the updated design, as the flat persona along with the glass back looks and feels quite good, and of course the 5G connectivity. So if you're looking for a phone that has decent performance, looks good, has superb endurance and has 5G, the POCO M6 Pro is a solid buy for about 11,000 rupees right now. Fiber rates the POCO M6 Pro 5G a 7.5 on 10. Rest, you guys let me know your thoughts about the POCO M6 Pro in the comments below, and if you want to see any comparison, any battery tests around this phone, also again let me know in the comments. And as always, for all the latest in tech, stay tuned to Fiber. I'll catch you all in the next one. Thank you for watching.